Welcome to EFTM, and today we want to have a good chat about electric cars.
Everyone calm down. The hysteria about electric cars is starting to grate on me. Talkback radio has gone nuts. The papers have gone nuts. It's become a real political issue.
And the reason it's gone nuts is because it has become a political issue. The Labor Party have decided that by 2030, they want to have a target of 50% all new cars sold being electric. Now, let me first break that kind of myth. It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Okay, I did some projections. We've looked at them in the office here. We reckon that if they're selling 1.1 million cars a year now, they're going to sell 1.5 million in 2030. That means 750,000 cars would need to be electric. It ain't going to happen.
Not going to happen, an ambitious target. But look, it is good that someone has come out with some sort of plan, because let me tell you, we have fallen so far behind when it comes to the electric vehicle race in this country. So at least there is a plan. The plan's not going to work, but people are thinking we've got to start talking about it.
Why do we need a plan?
We need a plan because we have no choice about electric cars. All manufacturers are going to make electric cars. Hello, we don't make cars in this country. Therefore, all we're going to get is electric cars, so we need the plan.
And to put that clearly, Volvo, Volkswagen, BMW, they're all talking about electric because European countries have mandated this same thing, but to greater extremes. So let's put aside the fact that we have to go electric, because we do. And let's deal with a couple of myths. And we've put all of this at EFTM.com, a lot of articles this week just to cover this off. We've currently got the Hyundai Ioniq in the EFTM garage. We've got it for a few months. I've driven it for a month. We've driven all the Teslas. We've driven the Jaguar I-Pace. We've been to Sweden for the Mercedes EQC. We know electric cars.
We drove a Tesla from Brisbane to Adelaide. I mean, let's never do that again. Let me tell you,
no, we'll go to Perth.
No.
So, let's talk not about long distance driving. Let's talk about real people driving, okay?
Exactly.
And let's put that whole thing to bed. First and foremost, the Hyundai that I've been driving can be plugged into a high voltage, high power wall socket or charger on the highways, but it can also just be plugged into the same power point you plug your vacuum into.
Exactly.
And that's what I've been doing. So I'm doing, 30, 40 Ks a day. And on a big day, when I've done 140 odd Ks, I get back, it's at 48% battery. It's at 48% battery out of a 220K range. I plug it into the wall, I click on the power switch, and by the morning, when I wake up, it's fully charged, because I don't want to break to you, your car sits in the driveway all night.
And I've got to say, you've been bringing it here. We park it in the EFTM garage and we plug it into the wall. And I've noticed you're getting around 40% charge through our working hours during the day, which admittedly aren't 9 to 5. They're more like 10 to 3. But, 40% still will get you, 150 Ks or something.
Mate, most people are going to charge these things not at the office, but at home.
Yep.
And your car sits in the driveway at home or the garage for 8 to 10 hours a day. That's when it'll get charged. And the other thing people say is, how long does it take to charge from flat? Why are you driving it to flat? Because you're driving every day as a commuter. You end up doing 30, 40, 60 Ks a day, even 100 Ks a day. You charge it every night. That's the shift. There's a mind shift that needs to change. There's basically a psychology of motorists that needs to change to understand electric vehicles. And I totally understand that people don't get it. But that's why we want to bring you on this journey of electric cars over the next little while.
It is a journey. And another thing is, when it does start to go flat, it doesn't just, it's not like a blackout. It doesn't just stop. Things start to switch off, like the air conditioning. It lowers the speed. There's a gradual, decrease in power and functions and abilities that the car can perform that drops off. So, you've got plenty of time to realise you're about to run out of juice and find somewhere to charge up.
And my favourite thing, a lot of callers on Talkback were saying is, what if, there's a bushfire on the F3 freeway, the M1 up north of Sydney, and there's car parks, and these days they hand out water bottles to everyone, which is great. Well, what if your battery goes flat?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to break it to you. The petrol cars are going to go flat too, because they're going to keep their aircon on. It's hot. They're going to run low on petrol. And do you know what you do? You tow the car away.
Tow the car. Someone said, what happens if they break down in the Sydney Harbour Tunnel? Well, like any other car, they'll come along and tow you away. It's ridiculous.
Let's talk.
Trev, it's ridiculous. This is another NBN. What are people talking about? And also, look, just before you go on, I know we've got a lot of good points to make. We're not talking about today. Today, look, a lot of this is very hard for people to comprehend. The infrastructure's not there. We're talking about 10, 15, 20 years into the future. Let's think ahead for once.
Breaking news, there was no iPhone. Well, they were on the iPhone, second generation 10 years ago. So a lot changes in 10 years. And let's talk about that. Fast charging. People are, Bill Shorten was caught out saying it might take 8 to 10 minutes to charge a car. Now, no, it will not take you 8 minutes. It'll take you 45 minutes to get from 20% to 80% in a Tesla right now at a Tesla supercharger. But those superchargers are constantly up. They're already at their third generation. When we were in Sweden, Mercedes talked about the EQC being able to be connected, because it's physically possible to be connected to a DC charger at 350 watts,
which is
I don't
massive.
understand electricity, and boom, you're getting 10 to 15 minute charge. It is possible, just like your smartphone can today be charged from 0 to 80% in half an hour, it is possible to increase charging rates. It's all about safety in batteries. So in the next 5 years, charging rates will increase to that point.
Absolutely.
And the biggest question, Bowen? Infrastructure.
Infrastructure.
That's what we need.
Infrastructure and where the power comes from. And this, with the infrastructure, I think it is important that the taxpayer does have to fork out in terms of on a federal level for the infrastructure. I mean, just like any other road, this is vital infrastructure.
But are you saying the taxpayer funds the charging stations? Or just making sure that the power is available to Shell and BP and others to build charging stations?
Making sure the grid can handle it.
That's it.
That's what it's all about. The private organisations and corporations, they need to look it after for themselves, which they will. When Shell are on board.
The car companies, the petrol stations, they will commercially make power available to you at a fee at locations all around Australia. But what's important is that the government today, state and federal, is talking about the infrastructure, the grid, and the generation of that power. I don't give a rat's where it comes from, I'll be honest. I just want it to be on the highways. I want to be able to drive to my mum's, which is 5 hours drive, and not have to worry about charging. And the last thing I want to say is about the charging time even today. Oh, it's 40 minutes to charge. If you're driving from Sydney to Melbourne and you're upset about stopping for 40 minutes, you're unsafe on the roads. Have you heard the term stop, revive, survive? Pull over, get a meat pie, you park out the back, she charges, and you get back in. That's what we did from Brisbane to Adelaide.
About 8 times.
Yeah.
I mean,
over 4 days.
Look, the argument's stupid. They're just try and not have blinkers on when it comes to this particular issue at the moment. I know it's a political football at the moment. We've got the election coming up. That's why it's being inflated the way it is. Just before we go, what about the way they drive? It's a different experience, but they are an enjoyable car to drive.
Only yesterday found sport mode on the Ioniq, and it's awesome.
It's incredible.
Like, it's a good car to drive. The first thoughts of the Ioniq are up on the website now. Bowen's going to do a full review of the driving experience, but they are pretty nice to drive. Very similar driving experience with some tweaks and changes. So I guess what we want to do is have a conversation about electric cars. So hit us up in the comments. Any question you've got about electric cars. If you're an idiot and you ask a stupid question, we'll call you an idiot and tell you that. But if you ask legitimate questions, we'll answer them legitimately.
Okay. Everyone calm down. Take it down a notch. EV cars, they're on the way.
Just breathe.
Just breathe. Catch you later.